Here we go. All right, so Dejana's going to be the moderator for today's panel.
Okay, so hi everyone. This is the opportunity that we're gonna get to meet the first speakers. So I'm going to ask them first to introduce yourself and what is your role, what do you do?
Right. So my name is Renata Leon. I'm the founder of Verita Product Lab, where we offer product management and product market fit advice to startups and early scale companies. And I'm going to be a speaker later.
She's going to be the one talking about vibe code. My name is Martin Herman. For those of you who have been here since the keynote, you already know a little bit about me, but I am the founder of Good Voices, which is that thing that you're seeing. And this is actually a Good Voices event. All the speakers, including the moderator, are members of Good Voices. And what I'm trying to do is create a change in tech community where we see more women speakers. So that's what Good Voices is all about.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tatiana Montenegro. Nice to meet all of you. And so I work as a senior sales executive at Juniper Networks, and happy to be here.
Yes, you met me on Slide Verify. I'm a senior BI manager with Tiger Analytics, covering analytics. I joined this group like almost a year ago. I'm very happy to be part of the group. I learned so much from other women, and also giving these presentations gave me a little bit of opportunity to present my point of view, and hopefully some younger people learn from my 30 plus years of career.
Awesome. Thank you. And I just want to say that I have some questions, but if you have any questions that you want to ask them, feel free to ask. So my first question is for each one of you. How do you see your current role evolving and changes due to the advances in AI?
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about that during my presentation, just to give a little bit of a preview there. It used to be very resource intensive for startups, for people who had an idea to come up with a business and give it a try. And many times it didn't have all the knowledge, all the tools. I think AI fills the gaps, knowledge gaps, whether it's on the technical side or for some people maybe technical, fills the gaps on the business side. So I think my role in many ways is about helping people navigate that to get to use AI to get to their outcomes and fill those gaps in order to get to their business idea quicker and more cost effective way.
Well, I'm recently retired. So I don't know how my role is going to change. But of course, I'm working on a project already, and I decided to take this project on as my first vibe coding project, and you'll hear all about it from Renata. So the way I see my role changing is being able to be more productive and being able to bring idea to implementation faster, using all the AI tools that are at my exposure. As a matter of fact, one of the projects, my project that I want to do is actually start doing a video series on all the vibe coding platforms and kind of evaluate, do the same implementation using different platforms and see how that goes. The sky's the limit, so I'm very excited.
So I'll also speak a little bit about it on my presentation, but I've been in the networking industry for a few years, and what I've seen is just the amount of intelligence that we're able to use just on the networking side to make better decisions, to get to problems faster is growing every day. And just from the last year as to what this year will bring, and also there's always the good, the bad, and the ugly. So there's also a cybersecurity concern that we need to make sure that we're aware of. And that being what my presentation is about. But I'm also very excited, but also cautious on the future of AI.
Yeah, so my role is to cover analytics and those dashboards. So far, I was working on analyzing data and presenting in visualization and eventually some grids and tables. I would start using AI to enable easier communication between the users and the data. Like, I'll start implementing something called dialogue with data where people can ask the system some questions using simple language and the system will provide the answers right there, that the person does not have to go and drill up and drill down, and maybe the dashboards are not even ready to present the answer, but the system will be trained to give a short answer in a very user-friendly format.
So based on your experience and the changes that you're seeing in the markets, what industries or fields do you think that they're going to either disappear or new fields that are going to be created new or take more force thanks to AI?
Well, I think every field is going to transform. And we'll have to see which ones disappear, and which ones don't. So many times it's like comes and goes, right? There's waves in the market. One that I'm very excited about is the intersection with IoT. We recently saw that OpenAI, we're known for their ChatGPT product, recently acquired Jony Ive's company, with Jony Ive being like the design genius behind all those early Apple hit the hardware, like the iPod, later the iPhone, and they apparently have something really interesting cooking up. They wouldn't be clear what it is, but it is clear that there's some really exciting things happening in the IoT space, meaning in the intersection of artificial intelligence and hardware, and potentially robotics, like we saw. So that opens up all these other needs of how do you maintain machines, like real world machines. How do you maintain those? We had some time ago, we had an IoT conference just like this one, and there's so many roles that get created when you have to maintain an ecosystem of hardware plus an ecosystem of software. So we're going to see a lot of new things coming up. Of course, some disappearing, but it'll be very dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree, and I kind of spoke about it in my keynote, that I look at this as a transformation, not as a disappearance. So yeah, is there going to be like roles or specific businesses that kind of disappear? Yes, absolutely. So this happens all the time. But there's also this transformation part that may create a lot more. So we talked about, creativity, critical thinking. These are the things that become more necessary. And, we need more innovators in this landscape where everyone can create a lot of stuff. Last year, ChatGPT also acquired a vector database company. So, we're gearing towards this multimodal AI evolution. It's not here yet, so it's going to be great. People who are just translating requirements to code are going to become redundant, obviously, but people who are creating the requirements, understanding business and domains and specific domains become more important.
Yeah, I think, and I'll speak about this in my presentation as well, but the cybersecurity piece is also going to be something that is not going to go away anytime soon. I think with all of the changes that we have with AI and how proficient bad actors can be, as well as good people that are doing amazing things with AI, there's going to be a need for workforce to keep things secure. So I see that as a potential future investment in time to understand the security components and how to play a part in that.
Yeah, I see AI as a must in all the domain of human activity. Some positions where there's repetitive task will probably be eliminated, but new positions will show that where there is a need to really train those systems and maintain the systems. And even analytics, I'm aware how much we can automate certain things, but we have hard time eliminating human factor, which is really the quality of the data that we enter into our system. So certain positions, like what Martha said, business analysts understand the business rules, people that are figuring out what are the data elements that are entering the systems. Those positions will be really showing up more and more. So more like how to do it, not what to do.
And something that I wanted to mention now that Tatiana mentioned security. I remember a couple of years ago that I went to SQL Saturday and Bob Woody was making a presentation. He works on Microsoft, and one of the comments that he made was that if you want job security, work in data or security, and if you want 100% job security, work in data security. Just keep that in mind. And another thing that Barta mentioned is the vector databases. That, by the way, SQL Server 2024, they have vector databases. And I believe it was this week or last week that they just announced that it's in public preview. So now we can play with it. So keeping this in mind, what skills or mindset do you think are essential to thrive in this AI-driven world?
Curiosity. And I think everyone who's probably here, you know, in this space, they have that curiosity. Just by you being here, you're looking for knowledge, you're looking for transformation. It's that attitude of continuous growth that I think will help us adapt. So adaptability. So I think that I'll leave it there with those with curiosity and adaptability, and I'm sure they'll have other things to add.
Yeah, you know, so yeah, great points. I would have said that if you didn't already. I completely agree with it, but also bias towards action. So I think that, you know, when I started in the industry, you know, software programs had to be planned for 6 months, and then architectures had to be drawn and stuff requirements written, and then you wrote the line of code. Now it's like, you know, you get an idea and you start playing right away. So there's no reason why there's not, and this is true also, by the way, for hardware. You know, if you ever do Shenzhen in China, there's stuff being built, physical stuff, and it'll become more available to people also. So curiosity, adaptability, but also a bias towards action will take you really far in this different world.
Yeah, I think for me, I think how to solve problems is going to be important, right? Because it's obviously you're going to be able to leverage AI to do a lot of the back end, but how does your brain come up with a solution as to what tools to use to get to the problem, to address a problem? So not so much into getting the answer, but in how to kind of put it all together.
And for me, it's courage to try, courage to fail, humility, ability to drop your ego and admit, hey, I don't know this, I need to learn, to read, to try, to test, and you need to be in touch with what's happening, so being part of groups like that, like this is really, really a good way to learn what's happening. Nobody knows everything, so don't forget that. But you can be the experts in AI, they are not ready for every answer.
And what about for somebody that is just starting, they have no experience with AI, where or how can they start? Learn to get it.
Well, I always advise people to start where they are most knowledgeable. So a lot of people come to me and say, how do I get into product management or group saying, Well, find out first what you're really good at now and start there. So if you're already good with, like, just to throw something, I don't know, flowers, botanicals, you know, and start, that is your field, that your domain of expertise. So see if like, you can solve problems for that industry. See if you can pick up something like vibe coding, or find a company that works in, you know, botanicals and can really use your knowledge while also giving you a chance to experiment with the technology. So for me, that would be my top thing. Just start where you're already good at.
Yeah, so when I was 14, I wanted to be a fine artist. I wanted to paint for the rest of my life. I was gonna be a movie artist. Didn't pan out. So years later, I went to the art gallery, and it was an artist that I really admired, and he was there, you know, wining and dining with everyone. And I really wanted to ask him how he had started this question. And I was just so dumbfounded and you know, humbled by him that I didn't want to ask him a dumbass question to this guy. So of course my husband takes me to him and says, "Hey, this is my wife and she wants to ask you a question." So now I'm like, all right, I gotta ask the question. And you know what he did was, my question for him was, how do you know what you like to paint? Okay, painting is great, but what do you want to paint? And he said, do 100 paintings and you'll know. But before the 100, you'll figure it out. And so that's my advice to people who start is, you know, there's YouTube videos, there's tutorials, there are conferences like this. Try it out, you know, and it's not even, like, the cost to start is so low, and the time required is also so low now, that, you know, by the time you get to your 100th, I'll tell you, I think by the time you get to your 20th project, you'll know, but definitely by 100, you'll know what to do.
Well, I love networking, so I'm gonna be talking about that you wanna talk to people. People love to talk about themselves. Just reach out on LinkedIn, ask them, hey, I think your career path is interesting or whatever. Obviously, you have to take the time to do the research to know who you think is interesting. But once you do that, then just reach out to those people and ask them. That 9 times out of 10, at least in my experience, they're gonna say yes because they're gonna want to talk about themselves for 30 minutes. And then you just schedule some time, and then you pick their brain, and then from there you figure out, hey, is this something I want to do? And then it'll help shape sort of the direction of where you want to go, because AI is so huge. Like, there's so many areas as well where you could work and where you could use your talents.
And I would encourage everybody that has some desire and ability to go and learn a little bit about machine learning, math statistics. It's really cool. I have gotten my data scientist, professional data scientist certificate a year ago. I was following some course online where not only I learned about cool algorithms, but I also learned about what's happening in real data, how people can play with data and cheat in elections, vaccinations during COVID, and probabilities. So I would encourage everybody that is able to peek behind the curtain to go there and play a little bit with machine learning.
This is my last question, and then I will open it for them. So, if you could influence one major change in how AI is used in your industry, what would it be?
Well, I'm going to be talking a little bit about prototyping and during my presentation, and you will quickly see that there's still a lot of opportunities of bridging visual, so our ability to conceptualize something visually from UI design with code. There are some tools today that you can use, and we'll discuss those, but it's still not a seamless flow of, like, I have this image in my mind of what this application should look like, and that will transform into code, unless you already are a designer. So I think there's a lot of opportunities there. We should be seeing more sort of images AI generated images that you can point, grab, interact with, provide feedback, and tweak. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so I think that, you know, AI is still in its infancy, and as per usual, there are these foundational models that are being built that are black boxes. We don't know what went into the training of these models and how they're coming to the decisions. And I think that a good place to be would be either have transparency of the data, or, well, or all of the above, or have better ethical consideration in especially building the foundational models. And, you know, but then again, you know, DeepSeek came out of nowhere and was better than a lot of models, so, I'm an eternal optimist, like the Pollyanna in the group. I still think that there's going to be better competition, open models, available in future, so that this monopoly doesn't work. So hopefully we'll have more ethics, more transparency in the foundational models, so that people that are deriving models from that are getting good and reliable data to build their model.
Yeah, and I'm gonna talk about security. I can't help myself. I think that it's important to there's just so many. You're an eternal optimist, and you have the opposite. And like, you know, you just have to have the right degree of caution, and you gotta think about the security aspect of it. It's really important,
In my world, AI helps me a lot with writing documentation, or English is my first language, and at the end of the career, I cover more some other tasks than coding. I would love to do the coding, but then I have to compile some documents. So LLMs are helping me with compiling documents, with the grammar, with spelling. I really appreciate that. Of course, I cannot just blindly trust whatever comes out. I have to be familiar with the topic and be in control and see really how this really depict what I was asking.
That's it. Questions? Yeah, you have.
Yeah, I have a question for Tatiana. From a cybersecurity perspective, what are the main challenges you are seeing in the industry right now with the booming of AI?
Oh, that's everything's gonna be a representation.